I'll bet you anything that Joe Biden could beat the daylights out of Trump in a push-up contest, for example. And Trump knows it too, although if it was a cheeseburger eating contest, it might turn out differently.
Yes, the former chair of the DNC, the former governor, the man that inflicted the permanent campaign on the United States of America, Howard Dean. He should be in handcuffs, don't you think? We're going to need a lot of handcuffs. Well, happy Wednesday to you. Happy Hump Day. Today, a difficult day in the Clinton household. You know, Bill Clinton, he views every Wednesday as Hump Day. Hillary Clinton wakes up every Wednesday morning, face down in a pool of her own dried vomit on their linoleum kitchen floor with an empty 1-gallon cardboard box of cheap New Zealand Chardonnay next to her. The Secret Service standing over her, shaking their heads once again. Oh yeah, it must be Wednesday, they say. And welcome back to all of you. We continue to be reachable at 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. We got a lot of crazy out there. We call them Democrats. They're really not democratic at all. They're lefties, and they're crazy, and they're anti-American, and they're gender dysphoric, and they're violent, and they riot, and they loot, they carjack, and they destroy businesses and economies, and then they tell you that everything's great. Just like on the front page of the Washington Post today, the economy is roaring. The near banner headline, it goes 3/4 the way, 4/5 the way across the front page of the Washington Post today. The economy is roaring and immigration is a key reason. Yeah, crime is roaring. Murders are roaring. Sexual assaults. And immigration is a key reason. When they say immigration, this is a code. I got to whip out my Democrat to English decoder ring here. The word immigration means illegal Venezuelan gang members. And they just use the word immigration as shorthand. They like to use shorthand. Today is also mailbag day because it's Wednesday, and I have the mailbag questions right here in front of me, and I will share with you the mailbag questions and answers. I hope that I have answers for all these things. But we also had a primary election in the state of Michigan, a great state, a wonderful state. But Democrats they've imported a lot of jihadis, a lot of genocidal anti-Semites. Of course, a lot of the Democrats who are white kids born in the suburbs, they've been converted into genocidal anti-Semites too. They think it's liberalism because they're pro-Hamas. A lot of confusion going on out there. Wait a minute, you're pro-jihad and genocide of the Jewish people at the hands of radical Islamic terrorist groups being funded by Iran being funded by the Democrats in the United States, so they can kill all the Jews. And the Democrats are raising our kids, not mine, of course, but other people's kids, to be genocidal anti-Semites. I'm signing the cross. No, that was never for me, not for me. But we got, even Eric Adams in New York is calling for an end to this sanctuary city thing when the illegal aliens come to New York and commit felonies. He thinks now this is all new for him because he's a maroon. And he thinks now they should be turned over to ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, for the guillotine. Guillotine. And we've got more and more Salvadoran and in particular Venezuelan. There's this Venezuelan crime wave. I was on my television show on Newsmax last night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. on the West Coast on Newsmax TV, and on with Mercedes Schlapp. And Mercedes is a Cuban-American. Her parents escaped the scourge of communism in Cuba, made their way to the United States, to Florida, and so on. And I turned to Mercedes last night. I said, well, you remember the Cuban crime wave, right? She's like, what? So you remember the Cuban crime wave, with the Mariel boat lift and Fidel Castro, communist, and his brother Raul Castro, communist. They love Che Guevara, and so do the Democrats. They love murderers and racists, which Che Guevara was. So you remember the Cuban crime, the Mariel boat lift, because the communists Castro brothers, they emptied their prisons and their mental institutions, their insane asylums, and they put all of their criminals and mental cases on boats for the United States of America. And they ended up here, and we had the Cuban crime wave. And all we got out of it was the movie Scarface, which is a good, fun movie. But, that's all. And that and murders and the drug, and all kinds of crazy stuff. But one good movie was not a good trade-off for all that. And now we've got the Venezuelan crime wave. The Democrats have created it once again, and they're fleeing once again Venezuela, a socialist paradise. And they got a dictator there, Nicolas Maduro, who's a criminal, and he's in charge of the country, and he emptied his prisons and sent his criminals to the United States of America, and now they are criminals in the United States, and criminals do what criminals will do, and that is they commit crimes, that murder, rape, kidnapping, robberies, organized retail theft, criminals. And the Democrats love crime. The Democrat Party loves crime. Everything they do creates more crime. They prosecute the police and free the criminals. They open our border and ring a dinner bell. They tell Nicolas Maduro, oh, you're going to empty your prisons and send them here? Well, we're going to welcome them because we're generous and we care, right? So now we have the Venezuelan crime wave, which is like the Cuban crime wave of the Mariel Boatlift days and the Scarface days. And it's going to be killing people in the United States for a long time and more. Now, that's completely crazy, of course, but that's your Democrat Party. Amazing stuff. Now, let's get to Michigan before we get to the Venezuelan, what are we going to call it? The Venezuelan vendetta, because Cuban crime wave, you got CC, it kind of rhymes. And the Democrats love things that rhyme, don't they? They're always rhyming out on the street and standing in traffic and gluing themselves to things and demonstrating their gender dysphoric mental illnesses. The Democrats are in a really, really bad place. But let's get to Michigan and the primary there last night, because a lot happened. And President Trump mopped the floor with Rashida Tlaib, right? I said Rashida Tlaib because she's in the headline in front of me. With Nikki Haley, Rashida Tlaib was pushing for the Democrats to vote for jihad, and more than 100,000 Democrats did vote for jihad, because Rashida Tlaib, who is a committed jihadi, asked that Democrats vote for Uncommitted. And more than 100,000 Democrats voted for Uncommitted. The rest of them voted to be committed. And they should be, for the most part. Now, let's go to soundbite number one. President Trump on the telephone after his victory last night at the Michigan Victory Party. President Trump, he's grateful.
I just want to thank everybody. This was a great day, and we have to win on November 5th, and we're going to win big, and it's going to be like nothing that anybody has ever seen. We have the worst president in the history of our country, the most incompetent and the most corrupt president, and we can't let this continue. So the date, November 5 and January 20th, when we take over, cannot come fast enough, because we're going to make America great again, greater than ever before.
And on the phone, but President Trump, November 5th, Election Day, January 20th, Inauguration Day. We have the most incompetent and corrupt president in the history of the country, and going to win big. And I got to tell you, the illegal immigration news, the reality the Democrats have inflicted upon us. Now, according to the Gallup polling organization, George Gallup's outfit, illegal immigration threat level, right? And now, according to Gallup, 55% of us Americans, well over half, believe that the illegal immigration threat level is critical. 55% critical threat level. Another 31% say it is important, the threat level from illegal immigrants, illegal aliens invading our country, because the Democrats are inviting gangs into the country to destroy New York City, dragging women down the street, stealing their Vespas and scooters and stealing their phones and emptying their bank accounts. all the sexual assaults, and only 14% believe it's not important, the threat level from illegal aliens. The Democrat Party and Joe Biden are doing everything they can to see to it that our country is ravaged, crime-ridden, non-English speaking, filled with foreign gangs marauding through the streets. And even if we could arrest them all and put them in jail, we couldn't afford how many 8 million illegals into the country. And I think that doesn't even count the gotaways. We're looking probably at 10 million illegal aliens under Joe Biden. Joe Biden's first year. Now, in 2017, President Trump, illegal immigration reached, I think, a 44-year low because President Trump said, we're going to control our border. That's all he has to say. He's president of the United States. Joe Biden came in, and his first year in office, we broke the all-time record for illegal aliens entering the country. The all-time record, Joe Biden's first year in office. Second year in office, they broke the record of the year before. A new all-time record, 2 record years in a row. Then, third year, 2023, again, a number greater than the 2 years preceding. And this is on purpose. This is not by accident or anything like that. And they're so corrupt. Well, everything they do is corrupt. I'll get back to the New York corruption on the illegal aliens. Completely nuts. Now, President Trump won, and he pointed out correctly and truthfully that Joe Biden is the most incompetent and the most corrupt president that I believe, certainly since electricity came around, so since Joe Biden started running for president. And November 5th can't come soon enough. And honestly, then the Democrats, President Trump wins on November 5th. The Democrats are going to burn the country down again because they have organized all the criminal elements in the United States, and they're all Democrats, as it turns out. Pretty amazing stuff. Nikki Haley, she's still in the race. She says she's going to stay in through Super Tuesday, then maybe look for her to jump ship and go to no labels or to some third-party operation.
This isn't about him. It's about the American people. And if states like Colorado and Michigan and Minnesota want to start winning again, you have to have somebody on the ticket that can win a general election. In every one of the early states, yes, did Donald Trump win? I give him that. But he lost 40% of the vote. You can't win a general election if you can't get 40% of Republican primary voters. You just can't.
Well, that's her position. Of course, you're kind of monkey wrenching the system and all of that. Nikki Haley then was on with her pals at CNN yesterday, and it sounded like this.
I am telling you, there will be a female president of the United States. It will either be me or it will be Kamala Harris. If Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, we will see a President Kamala Harris.
I see. Well, don't threaten me. Honestly, have you ever heard such a political threat before? Completely crazy. Now, Rashida Tlaib, who is an extremist and a radical, they love to call, people that have American flags on poles in their front yard extremists. Rashida Tlaib is a jihadi, a genocidal racist, a genocidal anti-Semite. She's anti-American. And, she self-immolated in front of the Israeli embassy, as Democrats are now fond of doing. It would be completely unsurprising.
When 74% of Democrats in Michigan support a ceasefire, yet President Biden is not hearing us. This is the way we can use our democracy to say, listen to Michigan, listen to the families right now that have been directly impacted, but also listen to the majority of Americans who are saying enough. No more wars. No more using our dollars to fund a genocide.
No more wars. Well, then maybe your terrorist friends should stop butchering Jewish women and kidnapping and raping everybody and murdering everyone and calling for genocide. But that's what Rashida Tlaib supports. She is all in, and if we had a news media, they would tell the truth about her. But because of critical race theory and diversity, equity, and inclusion, they lie about everything, including Rashida Tlaib she's a soft jihadi so far, until she self-detonates. But I'll report that when that comes along.
There's a kind of a calming feeling I always tell folks when I think of the Holocaust and the tragedy of the Holocaust.
Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Visit chrisplantcruise.com. Yes, and it's mailbag day, so we're going to get to the mailbag questions. And lots of crazy Democrat and illegal alien news all over the place. How many illegal aliens are on welfare and how many legal immigrants are on welfare in the United States? That's coming up. And I've got the mayor of Athens, Georgia, who came out to tell the people of Athens that everything is fine and illegal aliens that murder college girls are really not a problem. That's coming up. Let's go to the telephones now. Hey, speaking of Georgia, let's go to Bill calling from Savannah, Georgia. William, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Thanks, Chris. Honor and a pleasure to be with you. I wanted to tell you, you always talk about the media ignoring the power to ignore.
Yes.
I did a morning talk show host here for over 20 years. We just had William Friend here, who is from Savannah, one of the FBI whistleblowers.
Yes.
And he spoke to a big major meeting a few weeks ago, and the media failed to show up. It should have been the lead story every night on every station.
And you're from Savannah, Georgia, William Friend, FBI, former FBI official, and an FBI whistleblower. He held an event, and not a single local media outfit showed up to cover the William Friend event.
That is correct.
Wow. Did you hear the Lara Logan stuff that I played in the last hour? Our news media,
yes,
I've been saying it for a long time, Bill. The most corrupt institution in the United States of America is the American news media.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. We just had at our the Downtown Kiwanis Club every year, we do the Star Student, Star Teacher program where we honor the top students from every high school, public and private in the county.
Nice.
And again, none of the stations showed up.
Is that right? In Savannah, Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Our paper now is made up in Texas and is printed in Gainesville, Florida, and they mail it to us.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, if you're a billionaire, you could start your own TV station, your own newspaper.
That's true. All I need is a billion.
All I need is $1 billion. Wow. Our news media. The only positive news I can report on this, Bill, is that people are really noticing. Eyes are being opened, that they're so corrupt, that it's so shameless, it's so obvious that even a blind man can see how corrupt our news media is. Yeah, how many immigrants are on welfare in the United States of America? And if you come to the United States to go on welfare, should you be catapulted into one of our oceans? That's a fair question, I think. We're America. We could build catapults. We could pre-position catapults everywhere. And today is mailbag day. I have more audio I want to get to here. Let's go to Debbie Dingell. Debbie Dingell is a member of the House of Representatives because her husband was a member of the House of Representatives and then he died. So the Democrats said, I know, let's act like we're Bhutan. Let's act like we're the Philippines. We'll just give that congressional seat to his widow because she'll vote exactly the same way and all we care about is power. That's the left, and they're here to destroy the United States of America as we know it. Debbie Dingell, she was on, CNN yesterday when she said some crazy stuff that, now again, keeping in mind that when President Trump was president, there was no war in the Middle East. In fact, he and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, secured 3 peace deals between Israel and 3 different Arab nations, and there were more in the pipeline, including Saudi Arabia. There was no war in Europe. Putin wasn't invading Ukraine or any place else. But then Feckless Joe came along, and there's war everywhere. We're having our ships fired at by the Houthi rebels, funded by Iran. Joe Biden gave $6 billion to Iran in exchange for 5 hostages. Of course, the Obama-Biden administration freed up tens and tens of billions of dollars for Iran. the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. But never mind that. Here's Debbie Dingell living in this demented fantasy world. And honestly, at what point do we declare the whole party to be mentally ill? They're completely insane. Debbie Dingell, she got her job from her dead husband.
You do not want Donald Trump to be president. If Hamas had done this under a Trump presidency, I'm not sure that he wouldn't have just nuked Gaza, to be perfectly frank. So we have very honest, very blunt conversations, but I understand how people are hurting in this community and that they are calling for a ceasefire.
Yeah, people are hurting in this community. That's the jihad community in Michigan she's talking about. She's from Michigan because that's where her husband won her job for her. And I'm sorry, Trump would nuke Gaza, and she has very frank discussions, like Beans and Frank's discussions. She has a tiny little brain. She lives in a demented world. And honestly, President Trump would nuke Gaza. There wouldn't have been a war in Gaza. There would be no dead jihadi, criminal, genocidal, bearded women, psychopaths of Hamas. They'd all be alive because they wouldn't have attacked Israel and butchered all those people savagely in the first place. But this is the crazy propaganda. This is what Lara Logan was talking about, too. And by the way, we're going to post that Lara Logan, if we haven't already. We're going to post that Lara Logan video so you can share it with your friends on our social media, on Twitter and on Facebook and where else? Instagram. Yeah, Instagram. Sure, Instagram and places like, and you can share it with your Democrat friends who think that the news media is great. But honestly, Debbie Dingell saying Trump, I don't know, he would have dropped a nuclear weapon. No, actually, there would be peace in the Middle East and there would be peace in Europe. And hundreds of thousands of people would be alive instead of being dead, which is what they are now. Amazing, amazing lies that the lying Debbie Dingell tells because she's mental. She's a mental case. But this is the insane propaganda that these mental dwarves, can you say dwarves? That, because the FAA wants to hire dwarves, and they put dwarves in there. So that's how I know that we can use the word dwarves. But the Debbie Dingell, says President Trump would drop a nuke on Gaza. I don't think that's true. But the Democrats give the terrorists billions of dollars with which they kill Jews because they're genocidal racists. But other than that, they're doing real good. Yeah. And the left-wingers at places like The Hill, Democrat Dingell says Trump may have nuked Gaza amid anger at Biden. What? Well, he would be president and Biden wouldn't be anywhere around. He'd be in a coma, which he is now. Amazing. Representative Debbie Dingell, Democrat Michigan, warned on Tuesday that her colleague Rashida Tlaib, a jihadi, Rashida Tlaib's anger at President Biden in his administration's handling of the Israel-Hamas war, the terrorists destroying civilization, would backfire if it helps elect former President Trump, who she said could be far worse for Palestinians. Really? Because he got 3 peace deals in the Middle East and no war. Joe Biden is obviously far worse for Gaza because now they're all being bombed as they deserve to be bombed, richly deserve to be. We should be dropping, what do we call Moabs? Moabs, the mother of all bombs. And Moabs all over Gaza. And we should fill all the tunnels with concrete with all the jihadis in there and let it dry. We should have quick drying concrete. But they've got lots of hostages down there that they're torturing and raping every day because that's what the Democrats create. That's the world that they create. Dingell said it's important to listen to the Muslim and Arab American communities. They have communities. We should wall them off and make them no-go communities because more than 100,000 of them voted for jihad yesterday in Michigan rather than voting for Joe Biden. This is your Democrat Party in 2024. John King is a Democrat. He works at CNN. I wonder if he's going to get a $24.5 million payout. Well, he's not a gay black man, so he probably won't. John King, who comes from Boston, he said that in Dearborn, Michigan, that Joe Biden, because it's full of jihadis, that Democrats love having in the country because they're anti-American too, and they're anti-Western too, and they're anti-Semites too. See, that's 222. And here's John King. He's looking at his little map with his little finger sketchy thing, and he's, oh no, Joe Biden is losing to nobody. Joe Biden is losing to Uncommitted. And in Dearborn, Michigan, it's going to become a no-go zone like they have with Muslims in France. John King on CNN, he's shocked.
These are the unofficial results from the city of Dearborn, but on city letterhead, this is what Joe Biden received. Again, forgive me, 1,141 votes. Dean Phillips, 54 votes.
54 for
Uncommitted. Make sure I get this right.
Get it right.
3,703 votes. So that's a wow. If you look at it this way, this is 23%, and this is 75%.
75% voted for nobody, like the yippies. You know, nobody for president. Joe Biden got 1,141 votes, and nobody got 3,703 votes, according to John King at CNN. This is last night. They were still tabulating votes. It didn't get any better. And Biden got, less than 25% of the vote because the jihad vote got 75%. Kill the Jews. It's like a write-in campaign. Write in, kill the Jews, Rashida Tlaib said, because we hate the Jews. And they got a lot of jihadis there. John King wanted to make clear it's not like this was the whole state of Michigan. It's just the jihad pocket.
This is just the city of Dearborn, but that is where the biggest pocket of the Muslim American, the Arab American population. This is a place President Biden carried big time in 2020. This is key to his chances of defeating Donald Trump in Michigan. So you see, in the city we were looking at most closely for how mad are people at the president, that's a very significant number out of Dearborn.
They're very, very angry. That's because they're genocidal. They hate the Jews. And they're Democrats in good standing. And so is Rashida Tlaib. And so is Ilhan Omar. And given half a chance, to kill a Jew and get away with it. Somebody should ask him that at a press conference. If you could kill a Jew and get away with it, would you? Or you might say, would you? Because, that's your Democrat Party.
You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
Very angry indeed. All right, so President Trump mopped the floor with Nikki Haley, and nobody mopped the floor with Joe Biden, at least in Dearborn, Michigan, because they've got the jihad vote locked up. That's your Democrat Party. Amazing party it is. Yes, it is. They are, what is the turn of phrase? Oh, they're not on our side. That's what it is. And when the race wrapped up, 99% of the vote in, 13.3% of the state of Michigan voted for Uncommitted. That means they're anti-Semites and they're pro-Hamas. 81.1% voted for Joe Biden. But never mind that, because Nikki Haley got 26.5% of the vote in Michigan with 99% in, and Donald Trump got 68.2% to Nikki Haley's 26%. That is mopping the floor. And now it's on to Super Tuesday, and let's win there, to paraphrase Bobby Kennedy, before Sirhan shot him in the head, a Palestinian, just by the way, and killed him on his quest for the presidential nomination of the Democrat Party in 1968. Pretty amazing stuff. Now let's get on to the Democrats' let's go to the psychopath who is, the liberal from Athens, Georgia, because he decided to come out and talk to the people of Athens, Georgia, where there's a university, and at the university, a young woman was murdered by an illegal alien from Venezuela, as so many women are. murdered by illegal aliens from Venezuela, waved into the country by Joe Biden and the Democrats. Now, here he is. His name is Kelly Girtz, Girts, not like Bill Girtz at the Washington Times, who's an excellent reporter. Athens, Georgia Mayor Kelly Girtz. And he's like, oh, let's not get all caught up in who killed who. Come on, let's not pretend that immigrants kill people at higher numbers than anyone else.
I caution against conflating immigration and crime. The data demonstrates that the two are not connected.
Liar. See, once again, we're talking about immigrants. That's the lie. That's where the lie is. We're talking about illegal aliens, illegal immigrants, whose first act here is to break our laws. And then they come into the country, and the damn Democrats give them your car and your daughter and a gift basket and your social security number, and then they squat in your house and kill your dog. Just generalizing here a little bit, but there it is. Let's not conflate. Honestly, we're talking about illegal immigrants. They say, oh, immigrants don't commit crimes. It's not what we're talking about. And they know it. There are 10,000 ways to lie in the naked city. Athens Mayor Kelly Girtz.
It's my 18th year as a local government policymaker, and my work has overlapped with 4 U.S. presidencies and numerous iterations of Congress. All of them have failed to reach agreement on how to handle immigration. Appreciate the work of the recent bipartisan group of senators, and this recent bipartisan group in the Senate.
Here come the people.
Has crafted a bill to make headway on this issue. While no legislation is perfect, this would be a step forward, and I urge Congress and the White House to act now and demonstrate a willingness to continue to work on complementary legislation in the future.
You're the mayor of a college town in Georgia. You don't have a lot to say about bills going through Congress in Washington, D.C., but thank you for your arrogance. Now, the people that showed up, they've decided they've had about enough of this guy because he's a lying Sacagawea, and they know that he's a lying Sacagawea, so... and he's coming out saying, oh, hey, we got to break a few eggs. College girl's going to be murdered by Venezuelan gang members in Athens, Georgia. And let's not conflate illegal aliens, but he just says immigrants because he's a lying Sacagawea, with crime.
We know what it means.
Many of the elements.
Liar.
Many of the elements.
Liar. Liar. Liar.
We are here to listen.
Liar. You're a liar.
We are here to listen.
Liar.
There'll be time for questions.
You are guilty and got blood on your hands for this murder, sir.
Many of the aspects that are ascribed to sanctuary cities.
He ignores them.
You know what sanctuary
are things that are disallowed by Georgia law.
And it didn't stop there. The police chief had to come in and escort the mayor out because the American people have had about enough of these lying sacks of Jawea.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I appreciate your time.
If you take your notes, uphold the Constitution of the United States, sir. Yes or no?
Were there any other arrests?
Such Title 8 United States Code.
Now, I would say that this episode in Athens, Georgia, with the lying Sacagawea Democrat coming out and just BSing the people, and then the people respond. I'd say that that's what's happening all over America right now, even if it's not happening in public. The American people are waking up to the big lie, the gurgle, Joseph Gurgle, and the big lie that the Democrat Party is. Everything they say, pretty much everything they say is a lie. Ask them what time it is. You better get a second source because they're lying Sacagawea, and that's, again, these people in Athens, Georgia, you have blood on your hands, you lie. That's going on all over the United States of America. These people need to be removed from public office.
Did I hear you correctly say that perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle?
And the mailbag is coming up in the next hour as well. Now, we've been talking about the corruption of the news media. And the Lara Logan testimony on Capitol Hill about the awful news media and their corrupt pals. But last week, we talked about Catherine Herridge, formerly of Fox News, then at CBS News. Catherine Herridge, an investigative journalist, was fired by the woman who's the president of CBS News, former CNN person, now the president of CBS News. And the great reporter, Catherine Herridge, was fired by CBS News. And you may remember that they seized her laptops, her computers, her files, her phones. They seized everything and said, oh, this is perfectly. No, we just locked the door when she was outside of the office and didn't let her back in. That's all. They said, well, CBS News, the villain of the story in a huge way, even left-wing idiot bootlick Democrat journalists were saying, wow, that's pretty scary. That's outrageous what CBS is doing to Catherine Herridge. Now, get a load of this. The New York Post, but not the Washington Post covering it. CBS News boss, the CBS president, who signed off on firing Catherine Herridge to get free speech award. She's getting the big free speech award. The CBS News boss who signed off on the controversial ouster of Catherine Herridge, a respected Washington correspondent who has been embroiled in a high-profile First Amendment case, is nevertheless being honored with a free speech award next week. CBS News President Ingrid Cyprian Matthews was selected by the Radio Television Digital News Association to be among 13 honorees at the 33rd Annual First Amendment Awards, ironically and appropriately perhaps, at the Watergate Hotel in Washington, D.C. The irony was not lost on CBS News insiders who cited the fact that the exec played a key role in pushing out Herridge, an award-winning investigative journalist who is under pressure from a U.S. District Court judge for not revealing how she learned about a federal probe into a Chinese-American scientist. This is our news media. You destroy the First Amendment, and they give you a First Amendment award.